Today, I think, is the 81st anniversary of D-Day, and I wanted to say I know most of those people, men, women, whoever was involved, are gone now, but I know a lot of their descendants are still around, and they carry that pride and that energy of what their parents or grandparents did. So I just wanted to say thank you, because things would be way different had we not done that. We would have a lot of changes, a lot of difference. So that's a horrible day when a lot of young soldiers died. But war. So I wanted to just quickly, in this video I did Atlantis, Lizzie Borden, and I know that's a weird combination, but I wanted to quickly jump into that super cuckoo bananas Meghan Markle video that it is so cringe. It is so uncomfortable to watch. And I don't understand. I've watched a bunch of videos or people going over it, and I'm not going to dissect it too much. But I don't get it. And some of these people say, oh, she had a surrogate and this is all fake, and because nobody could dance like that and squat. And she wasn't hooked up to anything. And I don't know what day it was, if it was right before her daughter's birth, or it was like 3 days, where she was in the hospital for many days. But as a person who's had 3 children, yes, you can get down, but you're not getting up. And everything is uncomfortable, and you're so filled with water. And I just wanted to lay down and be comfortable. And at that stage, and more power to you if you do yoga. And I've seen people run not marathons, but run races at 6 months pregnant and stuff like that. But I don't see how her movements could happen. And then Harry is dancing in front of the camera. He was dancing funny. So I don't know if they were high, if they were excited, if they'd suck on some laughing gas. I have no idea. But her weird belly shape, that was the first thing I noticed, was the bumps on it. And it stuck out and squared off or something. Plus, sometimes you ever hooked up to a baby monitor, or the, heart monitor and stuff like that, to monitor the health of the child. But she was, unless you've got some magical new remote system, that's the only thing I can think of. I find it so weird and so cringy, because she's squatting and she's twerking. And the big thing, I don't know, she had her legs spread and she's grabbing her thighs, and I don't know. I don't know if she was trying to have the baby and this was trying to push it. Maybe she had some Pitocin. Well, that would hurt, but she seemed like she was not hurting at all. Or they wouldn't let her do that if she had an epidural. So I don't know what's going to happen to that, because I just did that video talking about their title. No, I didn't talk about the title. I was talking about him asking about the Spencer name. And I think it's possible this is such an embarrassment that I don't know why she posted it. Say, oh, it's private, fine, but why did you post it? It's so ridiculous. So weird. It's just weird and cringy. Anyway, I don't know. I think they're gonna have to do some not apologizing, but they're going to have to do some backtracking and to the royal family, King Charles and stuff. Otherwise, they will lose, I think, their titles, especially Meghan. And then he will be, and the kids. Although I don't know if they can do that with the kids, but for sure her. But they're not doing their royal duty that I can tell. It's just weird. Anyway, I wanted to share that. I don't know if you guys got saw that video. Weird. And then, and the Oilers, their Stanley Cup Finals. They won the other day in overtime against the Florida Panthers. 3 more games. I think I had predicted, somebody reminded me I had predicted they would win the Stanley Cup. I hope I'm right. And that was back in January. So there is, I think that was it. Like a super weird group of things. There's Harry and Meghan, Atlantis, Lizzie Borden, and now I'm going to explain to you about how to describe it. Dodecahedron, and I'll show a picture of it. And they found these objects all over Northern Europe, and nobody has been able to figure out what they're used for. There's all kinds of videos that are dedicated to this subject. It's a cast metal object with lots of holes and these little knobs around it. It's 12-sided, and they are pentagons, I think, on the side. And they have varying size of holes. And it's metal. And they found them during the time of Roman occupation. And they said it's more likely in Celtic areas that they found them. And sometimes they're being found in burial plots or with women who have died. And they cannot figure out what this is. So I meditated on that because I find it really interesting. Oh yeah, they do find a little bit of wax residue on them sometimes, not all the time. And I think there's only 115 or 150. I don't know the number. There's not that many, but there's no record. There's no pictures. They think they might be for the military because the Roman soldiers, and they were made to last. And so there's lots of theories, some of which are very good, some of which are very complicated, involving math and algebra and the holes and the sunlight and the knobs. But I'm just going to tell you my idea. I do feel like somebody had said something about fabric or knitting or metal, like making chainmail, because there's a way to put something through the center of these holes and then wrap it and weave it around. And that would make sense for women to use. But it'd have to be a wealthy woman. Or why would a wealthy woman have this if she's making chainmail? It could be because, my theory is, I know it has something, I kept hearing flax and a linen, because flax is made from linen. Linen is made from flax. And they put a coating on it. I saw it's wealthier places. I feel like it is something to do with weaving. It's a different material. It is, my very first thing that I heard when I very first thought of it was rope. So that would involve the military. Maybe it was so inconsequential, but why would a wealthy woman, or why wouldn't it be in her burial space making rope? I think it was like prying off status symbol. Like, I have this thing and we can make all these fancy, it wouldn't be lace, but all these fancy tunics or dresses or ropes or ties that this is. And it's really something about flax and linen. And it could be also what I saw, those knobs on it. I feel like that could be wound around, and I think there's multiple purposes for this thing. But I feel like, yeah, the textile or the thread or the yarn or the fiber that spun around, or even the thin copper metal or whatever it is, yes, they could be spun around those circles. But why are they circles and not like points? So I was thinking the little circles, like, here's a circle. That's kind of like what the circle would be on the corner of those dodecahedron. I feel like there's another purpose where they'd have a cup or something. It's not a real cup, drinking cup, but something with a cup. This is huge. Those little things are like this big. And that would be something that would be keep them stable to use, so they wouldn't have to hold it. So that circle would sit in that cup, wherever it's on a stick that would have been carved out. And people, they haven't found sticks, but wood is hard, to find all the time after 1,000, 1,500 years. But I feel like that's also part of it. I feel like it's a combination. I feel like it's a status symbol. I feel like they wove something that would be an accessory. But the military, around Roman times, so they might have used it too. So this is the other theory I have. It sounds weird, and I don't even know if this is a thing. It doesn't seem like it. But each of the sides the opposite side is a different size hole, different circumference, diameter, or whatever. And they match. So there's skinny ones and fat ones, depending. And so I saw, and I don't know why this would even be a thing. It's probably not. I could be wrong. Obviously, I am wrong because this makes no sense. I saw like them rolling up parchment because they didn't really have paper. It was things you write on, fabric-y things. And I saw them putting it through that. And there's something with the way they tie it, and it's something to make it secure or nobody could read it, and they could put, I know that makes zero sense, but I feel like it's something like that, and different type of scrolls or different things that they used. It also could be, you start with a big, they do this in Asia, bamboo, it's big, and then you put it in the next hole down. So it's like it wouldn't be for pasta, but it has to be something utilitarian that people used, Celtic people. So I feel like it's an everyday thing, but it's a status symbol. So I feel like the holes are apart, and then you put it in here and you pull it, and eventually it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And you make this, I don't know, this parchment, these leather thing rolls that somehow they cover with this flax or something, like they wind stuff around it as it's coming out. But I have no idea what that is. I know that's super vague, but I'm going to do more of that and try and get into the energy of that. I also look like they sealed, by doing this, they somehow sealed something so people couldn't get into it. And I think that had to do with messages and military or something. And it's an expensive tool. So I feel like only the wealthy sent messages, or the, people that had access to messages, like the soldiers and stuff. But I feel like it's something like that. I don't know. Yeah, lacing, weaving. I've had requests for Lizzie Borden. I don't know if it was 2 people or 1 person twice, but I wanted to look into her energy. Lizzie Borden had an axe. She gave her mother 40 whacks, and when she thought that she was done, she gave her father 41 or something. I don't know if it was mother and father, but I think it was Massachusetts or one of those northeastern states, upper northeastern. It was in the 1800s, late 1800s. So what I wanted to do, if you haven't been here before, thank you for coming by. I sometimes do mysteries, celebrities, a lot of politics. If you like the orange knucklehead, this isn't the place for you. But I also go into these, I channel spirit souls, people that have passed on, talk about what's happening on the other side. So I have meditated, and I took down some notes. And I am also going to channel her while I'm talking. Well, first of all, I have a really bad hip issue right now. It's killing me, so I'm drinking wine. Because. Anyway, and thank you for your ideas about my microphone. I'm going to try and stand still because I'm part Italian and Irish, so my hands need to be talking all the time. Anyway, and I need to move around quite a bit. So when I looked into Lizzie Borden, I felt a very cold life. Like there wasn't a lot of love. I think it was her stepmother. I don't think the mother it wasn't her mother. And I think there's some issues with that. I got into her energy and I see her. I'm a child. I'm a little girl and I'm sitting out front, around back. The house is here and maybe one, two, and I'm outside and I feel like I'm being left alone quite often. And it's the energy in the household is more, like I said, cold, not loving, like do as you're told, old school, children should be seen and not heard. And that's the feeling I have. And I also feel like something hits her head. And I know we got the whole axe murderer situation. Maybe I put that down so you don't have to see my pan. But it wasn't that. It was something that happened to her early on in life. And I almost think that affected her. I think it was a combination of things. Oh, by the way, I do think she did it. I asked her and I think she did it. Because there are people, she got acquitted when she went to trial, but there was nobody else around. I think that, I don't know why I see the top of her head getting hit. So I don't know if she was hit intentionally as a punishment or she had an accident where she hit her head or fell or had, some kind of thing. But I feel a very unloving time there. I felt very alone. And I also, let me see, it's funny, I almost feel like a Helen Keller vibe. And that makes no sense because Helen Keller was really smart, although she couldn't see and she couldn't hear. Helen Keller came to mind. And I don't know why that is. It's almost, maybe it's because they live in their own private existence. Even though they had people around them, Helen Keller, obviously, she couldn't see, so, or hear. So she lived in her own mind and her own world. It feels like that. It feels like Lizzie Borden. It feels like she had no one. I think she did, but she felt like she didn't. I know he was really cheap, the husband or the father, real miserly. And I guess they lived in a decent area, a wealthier, so they had money. But so, and now I'm thinking about the Menendez brothers. So it's like that, where I don't think he was abusing her. But there's some sort of neglect, I think. It feels neglectful, emotional neglect. And then there was something that, and I think it's a combination. I think she had some sort of, something was a catalyst for her to do this. Maybe not schizophrenia, but some sort of psychotic episode that she went and did this. And I felt like she had brain damage or some sort of mental illness, either from that hit on the head and it was probably nothing anybody thought of at the time, but I feel like it hurt her. It was a little something that triggered something within her. And I already said she wouldn't speak to her, hated her, they fought. I see the husband and wife fighting, or somebody's fighting in the house. There's a lot of anger. She feels so, I feel sympathy for her because I feel like she's alone. She doesn't have any other choice, although she does. I feel like I want to run away. When I'm in her energy, I want to run. But at that time, I don't know if a woman could survive on her own by herself, what kind of job. Because it's, I think, in mid to late 1800s. I don't know the exact dates. But I feel like she wants to run away so bad, and she can't. Or if she did, she'd lose everything. She's got a perverted brain. It's kind of like, who did I do the other day? The kid from the Pennsylvania rally who took a shot at Trump. It feels like that. It feels like they're not thinking right, and they get into this belief state that it's what needs to be done. It's a psychotic event, I think. And I feel like that's what's happening with her. So I'm just going to talk to her. And when on the soul level, it took her a long time. I see orange. Why do I see orange? It takes her a long time to move past that existence. Because I know she lived, I don't know how long she lived, but I feel like another 30 or 40 years after that would be typical. So I think she's come back. I think she's an Earth creature. She's not somebody from another galaxy, or sometimes I see that, or people that are not ready to come back down. What were you supposed to learn in that life, Lizzie? Oh, I see hatred was her word. Why do you need to learn about hatred? It's a karmic pattern that she had. And she was in a woman's body, and she was learning how to tell me why hatred was important. Karmic, why did you have to have hatred, and why did you need to go to do this? And the hatred, it's not in proportion to what the experience. So it was very inflamed in her. I'm sure she had a lot of bad memories and a lot of bad things happened, but I don't feel like it was all bad. And I feel like the hatred came from something else. And like I said, the disorder, the psychotic situation, the mental illness. It feels a little Asperger-y, Hannah. I mean, back in the day, autism wasn't a thing. It's some social issues where she can't reconcile some things. So she internalizes them or blames other people. So she's very... Why did you have to learn hatred? I see her baking bread like 100, 200 years before in a big big oven with a peel, bread peel. She's a man. Why did you need to learn hatred? Because I ignored my feelings. I ignored my feelings over and over and over again in different lives because I had to survive. And my father in this life was very mean. She said he didn't love me. I think he wanted a boy or something. And so he just she wasn't right, or she wasn't it. So treated her badly. And so why did you kill him? Why didn't you just leave? She says, I couldn't leave. There was no space for me in the world that I could go. But so violently. She's like, it didn't matter. The hatred was what... I had a lot of lives built up. And it reminds me of, is it Geronimo? Had a lot of lives built up with hatred. And it's an old way of doing things. And when you want to get rid of a problem, you kill it. And I think the father and the stepmother, they were like no nonsense, cold. And she had had enough. She couldn't leave. And she was so very unhappy. Do you have any regrets? Yes, she says, I shouldn't have did that. She said I had lots of other options, but I did not see them. I did not see them. I see a newspaper, and I'm thinking, she's like, I could find a job, or I could go somewhere else and work or something. I didn't need to do that. But she lived in a bubble. Like, I feel like she didn't know. But when she died, what's the lessons from that life? She's like, I learned that hatred gets out of hand, and that even though I wanted to learn about it and express it, it was wrong the way I did that, and I regret it. But I learned, she said, but I learned how bad it is. And I see Christ on the other side. That's interesting. She must have asked for forgiveness. She must have been Christian or something. I feel her, that was part of her upbringing. Something about the church. So she did go through a period of healing while she was alive. She didn't ignore it. There was guilt, even though she didn't admit to it. And she looks back on that time, and it's funny, as the human, she's glad she did it because she couldn't have lived like that. But now as a soul, she's like, I could have got out without doing that. Yeah. I see her as a boy, like in the early 20th century, like a little boy. And then he goes to war. He dies in war, like WW1, World War I. What do you have to say? What do people want to know about you? She's saying, I wasn't loved enough. So remember to help people and to love your children and understand them. That was the other thing. He didn't give her any attention, and the stepmother is understand them. She's like, you didn't look at me. I didn't feel like he understood me, and I think it was just aching for her father's love, and she didn't ever got it, and so it just built this weird psychotic break. Anyway, well, hope that helps anybody that asked about that. Pretty gnarly. Atlantis. I don't know. I haven't done this in a while. I can do paper divination where I crumple paper. Today I'm going to use the image of Atlantis in my mind's eye, and I channel it into my hands and get the energy from it, and then it returns and I get some images. So I wanted to know more about Atlantis. I've had past life regression, or I guided people through past life regression, and one of them, believe it or not, was there. And so I'm never surprised or shocked at what people see and do in their past lives. But it was really interesting because she was part, I don't think I'm giving anything away here. She was part human, part alien. It was like they floated above the land. It was like beings from other places that came there. But so she said us humans were dumb and we ruined it basically, and so they destroyed it just because they could, because we had to start over, because we abused the skills they gave us. We abused, meaning humans at the time, we weren't evolved enough to use these technology things. It got bad real fast. That's what she said from her. So Atlantis, I see green. I see lots of green. It's like Ireland-ish looking. It's very green, but it's not that far north. Why do I feel like Atlantis should be in the South Pacific or somewhere in the Mediterranean or something like that? But yeah, I feel like, I don't know why, Atlanta. I feel like Greece kind of vibe. But I'm seeing a lot of green, like Ireland. Like moss-covered rocks. It feels like it's very big. There's a lot of structures, like columns and really nice stone-built structures. Kind of like an old Roman vibe there. Or maybe, it's not like, is it Greece? Is it Turkey? But it's too mossy for down there. Anyway, did it get destroyed by outside forces? I think it was some sort of earthquakey thing or tsunami thing, or I think it was a tectonic plate movement that took it down. But it also, it's funny, things coincide, and we assign different spiritual benefits or beliefs around certain things that happen. But I'm not, I don't think, I'm not beyond thinking that outside entities beyond Earth or beyond our galaxy could have pushed something somewhere to make that go down underwater. I think it's just time. Our Earth was volatile at the time, and meaning things were moving more and more. Thousands of years that things moved until they've become more settled, I think, more recently. I see a man with a beard and black hair. He's pointing to like a hill with a big, kind of like the Pantheon or something like that. He's got like this draped, like a toga thing. But it's white and it has little something decorations on the edge, like gold threads or some kind of threads or design. He's showing me something in the sky. What's in the sky? Clouds, dark clouds. Is he like a prophet or something? Why are you showing me this? He's showing me a change in the sky. I don't know if it's astrology or the moons, but back then there's something that he's showing me that is in the sky that's shifting that hasn't happened before. Maybe it's like an eclipse or something they have never seen. But he's pointing to that. So definitely massive. It's like Mount Vesuvius where everything gets destroyed. And it's underneath, like it's slipped under, like things, I don't know if it was an island or what, but I see it on land and then it went down and below something else. So under, like, I don't know, thousands of feet under the sea, and it went under there, like kind of. So that's why, well, why haven't we found any? Well, because the stones are heavy and they're way down there. He's saying belief system. What is that about? Why are you saying belief system? It's a very, spiritual's too vague. It's a very unique view they have. Unique, that's also vague. It's a cultural, they're different than anything we've known on the planet. What they believe there. Why are you different? Because, well, he says we've been visited, but I need to, research that a little bit in my mind's eye. He's showing me birds. He's saying he studies the air and the animals, and he knew something weird was going to happen, but he couldn't possibly have known it was this big. And they have their own language. I can see him putting something on like stone, like chipping with a chisel to write, kind of like runes where it has straight lines like that. Words, Old Norse. Where are you? It feels west, outside of, it's like not north, but I keep seeing the green lake of Ireland. Why? But it's close to somewhere. It's not like out in the middle of an ocean somewhere. It feels like it's within a few hundred miles or maybe 100 miles of a land, contiguous piece of land. Or the, countries like Europe, Western Europe, they're all stuck together. Atlantis. And it's horrifying because everything is crumbling and falling. And children. It feels like they were way ahead of their time. Technology-wise, they were like, I don't know. Leonardo da Vinci, who had all these really, he was a genius. It was like that. But they also had some other information, or they just were really smart. It's like Aristotle and all the philosophers, Socrates or whoever. It's like there's some information that is like that, where they were really smart, not just stoic and, discuss things. It was more like math and you know what? It's weird. I don't know. This is strange. I feel like they found something and they're using it as their like Bible or codex or something. It's their way of, like, they interpreted it somehow. I don't know if it's accurately interpreted, but they used it and it works, whatever it is. Information that they got and they created a world around it. Did people from another... Yes, they left things here. It was what they did. They left things here. And it could be some of their beings mixed with the humans. I think that's some of that. The alien mixed with the humans and they helped. But then the human race is easily abusive to any situation because we can't just keep it nice. We have to, like, there's always power and greed and ego and sexuality and all these things that took over because people weren't that intelligent. All of them. Some of them were, but not all of them. I think it's a combination of factors. I think there is somebody from another place that brought something and left it, and they discovered it, and the people intermingled with a couple of these otherworldly beings, and then they understood. They like translated it, and they understood. I'm not saying it's like it is now, where we have the technology on phones and stuff, but it was for their time. It was really advanced. What do you want us to know? Oh, he's doing this. Come on. Come here. Showing me there's a hole in the ground. It's not... He's saying there's still something there that can be found. Like there's stuff in this hole, but the hole is above, before the whole calamity happened, before Atlantis fell. And he's telling me there's stuff inside of this pocket in the land but if it's all underwater, but he's saying it's not, it's still there. It's not degraded 100%. I don't know what it's made out of, precious metal or stone or something, but it's still there. And he's pointing to it. Huh. What do you want us to... He's showing me go through the ocean, use metal detectors to find it. I'm like, I don't think so. If it's that deep, I don't think we can find it. So here's Europe, and I feel like it's west of the Mediterranean. It's like out there. Spain. I feel like Greece area. Why am I... Because the weather was different then. Okay, that's why it was so mossy and green. The weather was different. That's... Okay, that makes more sense. Because it's hotter now. Then it was wetter. So everything was treed, or it had just moss everywhere, like Ireland. I wouldn't be surprised if it was up higher. Like between Europe, west of Europe, and... I mean, what's now the United States, but out there, a little bit more south, west of the Mediterranean. But it is an island, but it's more of like a piece of a land that was up like this, out of the water. And it's on the shelf, like. And the shelf went under the other shelf. When things moved, like it pulled this way and it dropped, and then this went this way, and it's like that. will we ever find it? Not in our lifetime. You're saying the people out there in the other galaxy can help us if we ask them to, but time is like that. It's showing me that even though that was a long time ago in human years, it was still for people in another galaxy, it's like a second, right? But I'm looking from the beings from elsewhere looking at Earth, and we just look like a bunch of animals and just idiots. I feel like they just go, come on, guys, you don't even know what you're doing. I feel very earthy and we're just living here. We're not smart enough to know that, technology exists. We're just living day to day. But the good thing about that is we're on the Earth and it feels really good as physical beings. So, I don't know. That was very interesting. And again, I love your ideas. I'll keep my running list of them. And thank you again for coming by. And you guys take care and stay sane, and all is well.